The city glowed under the bright daylight, the sun reflecting off the 1,000 windows of towering skyscrapers, but inside the highest office of one of those buildings, a man sat surrounded by everything money could buy, except the one thing his heart had quietly yearned for his entire life. Adrian Cole, a 42-year-old millionaire CEO known for his unshakable discipline and cold decision-making, stared numbly at a stack of documents he had been pretending to work on for the past hour. The silence of his office felt heavier than the glass walls around him. Even in all this brightness, his soul carried a shadow he never spoke about. But he had no idea that on this very ordinary day, something extraordinary was about to walk through his door, something small, unexpected, innocent, and powerful enough to break open a part of him he thought had died long ago. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that touch the heart, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Thread. Your support helps us spread more stories filled with compassion and hope. It began with the soft patter of tiny shoes echoing across the polished floor of the executive hallway. The receptionist was distracted with a phone call, and the security guard had stepped away for a brief moment. That tiny window of opportunity allowed a little girl, no more than 4 years old, holding a small woven basket, to wander straight into the CEO's private office. She pushed the door open with the innocence of someone who didn't know she wasn't supposed to be there. Adrian lifted his head, his brows narrowing slightly as he saw a small figure enter, standing in the sunlight, her pink cardigan glowing warmly against the bright panoramic city view behind her. The girl looked around with wide, curious eyes, then focused on him as if he were the only person in the world who mattered. There was no adult behind her. No one yelling her name. No urgency. Just a fragile, lost child standing in a place meant for powerful people. Adrian cleared his throat, unsure if he was imagining her. But she clutched her basket and walked a few small steps closer, stopping at the edge of the carpet before his desk, her tiny voice trembling as she asked the question that would destroy the walls he'd spent years building. "Sir, where can I buy a dad?" For a moment, Adrian forgot how to breathe. He felt his chest tighten, his heart sinking into the depths of memories he buried long ago. The little girl looked up at him, hope shining in her big brown eyes, as if he, a man who had everything, might know where to find the one thing she was missing. He opened his mouth to answer, but his voice cracked. That simple question pierced him deeper than anything had in decades. He blinked rapidly, trying to maintain his composure, but the tears rose anyway. He turned his face away, but the crack in his voice gave him away completely. The little girl didn't understand why he suddenly looked so broken. To her, he was just a grown-up, someone who should have answers. Adrian swallowed hard, fighting to regain control. The daylight from the windows felt harsher now, exposing every wound he had ever hidden. The truth was that he himself had grown up without a father. His mother worked 2 jobs, life had been a constant struggle, and he had promised himself that when he became successful, he would never feel powerless again. But despite all the money, the success, the reputation, he was alone. Achingly alone. And now this child stood before him asking for the one thing he had always wished for too. He took a slow breath and crouched down to her level, his expensive suit creasing on the floor. He looked into her innocent eyes and saw a reflection of his younger self, lost, longing for love, longing for someone to stay. The girl held out her small basket as if offering something. Inside it were a few coins, a button, and what looked like a tiny folded drawing. She whispered shyly that she had been saving everything she could find, hoping it would be enough to buy a dad from somewhere, maybe from a big office like this one, where important people lived. It was such an honest, heartbreakingly pure thought that Adrian felt a tear slip down his cheek before he even realized he'd lost the battle to hold them back. He gently asked her who she came with, and she explained that her mother was downstairs filling out job applications. They had recently moved to the city, and her mother told her this building belonged to people who fix lives and give chances. In her innocent mind, a dad was just another chance. Adrian felt something shift inside him, a quiet truth blooming where pain had lived. He picked up the drawing from her basket. It showed a small family, 2 stick figures holding the girl's hands. One had long hair, the other shorter, like a dad. She had drawn herself in the middle, smiling. Adrian had not drawn a smile like that in a long time. As the minutes passed, the fog of shock slowly cleared and was replaced with clarity. He realized this wasn't just about her. This was a message for him. A reminder of everything he had forgotten to feel. He stood and offered her his hand. Together, they walked downstairs to find her mother, who was terrified and relieved when she spotted her daughter. The woman apologized repeatedly, exhausted and embarrassed. Adrian listened quietly, noticing the fatigue in her posture, the worry in her eyes, the humble strength of a mother doing everything she could. Something inside him urged him to help. Not out of pity, but out of connection, deep, emotional, unexpected connection. He offered her mother a stable, well-paying position in his company, but more importantly, he offered the little girl something she had unknowingly given him first, the beginning of a family. Over time, he visited them, helped them, and slowly became the father figure the little girl had been searching for, not by being bought, but by being found. The daylight that once felt sharp and empty in his office now felt warm and full. His life, once cold and driven by ambition alone, softened with new meaning. And the little girl, with her pink cardigan and tiny basket, became the light that healed the shadows in his heart. He didn't just give her a dad, she gave him the chance to become one. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Thread. Your engagement helps us bring more emotional and inspiring stories to you. Before the story ends, please comment below. Kindness can change lives. And remember, sometimes the smallest souls walk into our lives to fix the biggest parts of us.